What is up, my friends? Hope you all are social distancing, quarantining, and just staying safe out there, being practicing good hygiene, all of that. And it is crazy times, I know, but here we are to talk about movies and all the stuff we love. Just a little distraction for the day, right? So this movie is called Swallow, a movie that I've been wanting to check out since I heard about it last year, and it's been getting pretty much press everywhere. It was even a movie where Haley Bennett won Best Actress for at Tribeca, so it was going in with a lot of anticipation. And pretty much, I was waiting for it to come out in theaters in my area, and it didn't because of everything that's been going on. And nonetheless, I was excited when I heard that it was on Amazon Prime Video. Went to go check it out. It's about a $5.99 rental, but I highly suggest it if you enjoy movies such as Invisible Man, Rosemary's Baby. It definitely is up your alley. But let's just get right into it and its ending and what it's my thoughts are on it as well. So the movie follows a young woman who marries into a rich family, and like any movie with any rich family, you know they're about to be a bunch of a-holes, and pretty much they are that way. They seem to be caring on the surface level, but deep down you start to see where their interest really lies, and that's in themselves and their own legacy. Because once she becomes pregnant, they become a little bit more sweet to her, I would say, but the only reason is because of the baby, as you find out later throughout. Even her own husband has been ignoring her, and pretty much she is set aside and put into the dark during most of the time with the family at the beginning of the film, as you see. And as I said, her husband doesn't really pay much attention to her. She's just stuck at home all day, neglected. And I mean, what happens when all of that happens? You turn to interest, right? Maybe you could write some poetry, you could write some stories, or you could paint something to release those emotions of pent up frustration that you may have. But in this case, my friends, she falls into Pica. And I was pronouncing it Pica for a while as well, but it's definitely pronounced Pica as we hear in the movie. And then I went on Google and looked it up, and yes, it's pronounced Pica. So this is a real disorder that happens in people due to different things that can be going on in one's mind. And for her, it pretty much seems to be because she feels that everything is out of her control, and she's pretty much put under so much pressure by everybody around her that she just turns to this. First thing she does is ingest a marble. After she ingests it, when she brings it back out, she gets it out and puts it as a collection. And her collection starts to grow. We see her get a thumbtack. We see her get various little knickknacks as well. All of this goes pretty much under everybody's radar because, as I said, she is pretty much neglected by everybody. So they have no clue until one day they go for an ultrasound for the baby, and they discover that something's wrong with her. After they go in through her esophagus to remove everything, pretty much their whole family, the rich family, they're just like, you're going to the therapist. No, like, you can't get out of this. You're going there because we care about that baby. Not you, but we care about the baby. And so after she goes with the therapist, we see her go through some sessions, and pretty much she starts to tell the therapist some pretty deep shit about her, and that's that she was a product of rape. And this is where pretty much the therapist is like, this is probably where it all started. She even carries a picture of her father, the one who committed the rape on her mother. And the family also decides during this time that they are going to have a bodyguard keep watch over her, and just like get to see everything she's doing 24/7 when the husband can't be at home. One day, however, she realizes that the therapist is telling everything to the husband, including the rape situation. And you would think this would be like the turning point for the husband when he hears this news, but no, this man decides that by just being like, I'll buy you anything you want, just let me know, but I'm going to the gym first. It's just going to be like a solution for it all. And I think this is when she quickly realizes this isn't going anywhere. And she has like a meltdown of sorts. The bodyguard starts to show some sympathy towards her as he pretty much sees that what she is dealing with is something pretty strong. At first, when he got there, he was pretty dismissive about it all, but I think as he got to spend more time with her, really get to know her as well, he starts to quickly realize that she is in need of help that she's obviously not getting with these people here. So when they're alone one night, he goes to sleep on accident, and she ingests a large tool. This large tool, however, proves to be too much, and she pretty much is choking on it. The bodyguard wakes up in time to go get her help. She goes into emergency surgery, and the family pretty much is like, that's it, we've had enough. You're going to a psychiatric ward, and if you don't, our son is going to divorce you, and that's that. As they are about to do this, however, she quickly manages to escape thanks to the bodyguard, goes to a motel as the family goes out to look for her, and this is where everything just ends. Like, she gets a phone call from Richie, the husband, and he's like, if you don't come back, you can forget everything. What are you going to do out there by yourself? You can't do anything. And he just hammers this down, even calling her a cunt at a point. So she's just like, goodbye, I'm not talking to you no more. Smashes her phone. That's that. She tries to go with her mother, but her mother's pretty like, we would want you to come, but at the moment the house is too full, so I'd rather you not. And you can clearly tell that where this whole like emotional thing for her comes from, as her family just sounds like a bunch of jackasses as well. So with nowhere to go and her old life with her old life with her so with nowhere to go and her old life with her husband pretty much destroyed, she decides to go find her father, the one who committed the rape, and get some sort of closure. As she goes to his home, she realizes he has a family, everything now. It's actually his daughter's birthday, his younger daughter, and at first the father is like, I don't know who you are, but who exactly are you? Tell us. And when she does, he's just like, okay, what are you gonna do? Ruin my life for everything now? She says that she is in charge now and she is going to get this closure that she needs so bad. And after a heart to heart, she ultimately does get this, as the father tells her that she is not him and she is her own person and can do her own life now. And this is exactly what she needed to hear. The next scene we see is her at an abortion clinic getting the pills needed to commit an abortion. She does this at the mall and she has the abortion there, and the movie ends there. A very, very strong movie, I would say. A lot of strong imagery, of course. And I think that it was very well done as well. A lot of callbacks, I think, to Hitchcock style with the production design, beautifully shot, beautifully paced, camera, everything. And I thought that the conclusion was very strong message as well. Now, the director has gone on to say that he was inspired by his grandmother, who sort of had a similar situation where she was in a very unhappy marriage. She had a lot of rituals she would do. It wasn't Pica, I think he never mentioned that, but he would say obsessive like compulsion with washing her hands and different things like that. And ultimately, the grandfather did put the grandmother into a psychiatric ward where they committed electrotherapy sessions. This was back in the 50s, so you can pretty much like know that they weren't knowing what they were doing back then. But the director did say that that was inspired by this, and because I think that when you are in these situations where you don't feel like you have any control of your life because your spouse or whoever it may be is so manipulative and controlling of you, you find the littlest things that you can take control of. And in this case, for our main character, it was ingesting these foreign objects that she shouldn't be ingesting. And I think what made her want to do this was because it's something that's so ingrained in you that you shouldn't do, and you know you shouldn't, but you're like, you know what, I'm gonna rebel and still do it. And in doing so, I feel like I am in control of myself. And I think that was the whole thing with her during this part of her life. And I think also the fact that her mother being pregnant with her was out of her control. She feels that she doesn't have any control of her own life as well because of that, because she didn't, it was such a forced and evil thing that happened to her mother, and she feels all of this, like, I would say, guilt for it, even though she shouldn't. And at the end of the film, we see, like, the father, who is the rapist, tell her that that has nothing to do with you. You are not that. I've already atoned for what I did, and you don't have anything to atone for. I think that was the final thing that made her realize that I can control my own life, and it's my choice. It's my own thing that I want to do. And she mentions it before as well to the husband, that she didn't even want to be pregnant really, and it was all sort of just to please him and his family. And now she's realizing this, and this is the reason I think she goes in to get the abortion, because she doesn't want to carry this baby. She didn't want to become a mother. And so by the end of the film, we see a new character be reborn and pretty much be this person that she wanted to be but felt that she couldn't be anymore. And the demeanor of her even changes. She's not trying to keep up with her looks or anything for anybody else. And her voice as well, you hear it from the beginning of the movie be so soft spoken and very much so scared to speak up. But by the end of the last scene with the father, you hear this new person emerge, and it's completely different from what we've seen before, and a very good character arc, I would say, for her. So in conclusion, pretty much it's a movie about controlling, manipulating people, and what that can drive them to. It doesn't have to be something so severe such as violence or anything like that, but just by sort of like putting this person down, even not even being like, I would say, you really get a whole different person. And I think when she finally stood up for herself, in the end, we had her happy ending. So what are your thoughts on Swall? If you've checked that out or not, let me know in the comments below. I like to know. And anyways, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that like, comment, share, all that good stuff. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. I have a video coming out later on the Outer Banks, so make sure you tune in for that, the Netflix show. Go check out my other videos as well. And as always, I hope all of you are doing good. Social quarantine, social distancing, all of that. And if there's any other movies that you've checked out during this time that you'd like me to discuss as well, leave them down below. I'll try to get to them. I have a list of videos. I have about like 10 videos I want to get through as well, so I wouldn't mind adding some more to that. And anyways, as always, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And I'll see all of you next time. Stay positive.